talking about some lessons that I learned during my exchange year. I have them on my phone, so if I'm looking at my phone, that is why. If you didn't know, my exchange year in Germany was in 2021 to 2022, so I've been back for a year now, and I just wanted to talk about some of the lessons I learned because I haven't made a video about that yet. The first lesson that I have is that stereotypes are dumb. Very dumb. And I think most people know this that go and live abroad, but I did already know this beforehand, but it was kind of reinforced with my exchange year, you know. I could say so many things about Germany as a whole, but one thing that was really interesting to me was that I was placed in Saxony, which is the part of Germany that is known for being very AfD prevalent. AfD is the political party that people see as having racist, homophobic, sexist beliefs. So it doesn't have the best reputation, and I was placed there and I was like, okay, it can't be worse than where I've grown up because my small town is filled with people like that as well. Coming from the US, a small town in the US, there's a lot of people like that. So I was kind of expecting it to be like where I live already, but you cannot generalize a whole group of people, because what was interesting to me was I was placed in Saxony, but my host mom had a gay son. And so you never know what to expect. There are people in the West that were placed in like all straight families. And of course it's just one family, but you know, stereotypes, we don't like them. The second thing I learned is to not listen to all the bad stories on the news, because this isn't too Germany specific, but I did go on a backpacking trip and travel around during my exchange year, and people think that, you know, as a solo traveler, especially as a solo female traveler, you know, you're not going to be safe, like, do not do it, it's so bad. I did it and I stayed safe and I'm still here, so as long as you take the necessary precautions, you are good. Do not let all the bad stories drag you down from doing what you want to do, because they don't show any of the good stories. They don't. So you have to research them for yourself, and that's what I did. The youngest person that traveled to every country in the world, 21 years old, was a woman. Fastest person, also a woman. And then the third thing I learned is that I am capable of a lot. You know, because growing up, I made a video about my ADHD diagnosis. I had undiagnosed ADHD like pretty much my whole life. I had this dream to go and live in Germany starting at 15 years old. People doubted me. They're like, I don't think you can do it. Like, you know, you're just not very street smart. And come to find out, I have a disability that makes me different, and that made me seem like I couldn't do a lot, but actually became my superpower, because when people thought I wouldn't be able to like be aware of my surroundings, my ADHD actually made me so focused, hyper-focused on what was going on around me, and became my superpower. On the other hand of that, I also learned that I don't understand a lot, because a lot of people, I don't know, my dad always says that when he was my age, he thought he knew everything about the world and he was so wrong. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't think that, but going to Germany definitely opened my eyes that I don't know even more than I think I don't know, if that makes sense. Because you can think you know a lot about some place or about the world because, you know, you've grown up, you realize all these things, but changing your environment really shows you a lot. And I only went to one country out of the 196 others, so, well, 195 because the US as well. And it's just crazy how I could learn so much from one place, and there's still 195 countries that I have not lived in, so I really don't know a lot, and I always keep that in mind. But another thing that I learned from my exchange year is to not have expectations about a place, because if your expectations are like, it's gonna be marvelous and amazing, I'm gonna have a great time, and then something goes wrong or it's not what you expected it to be, you're gonna be so disappointed, and you don't want to be disappointed. So don't set your expectations too high, because then you might not have a good time. Then if you didn't set expectations, and if things didn't go to plan, or if it wasn't as good as it could be, you still had fun because you didn't set your expectations higher. I had this idea of Germany in my head that it was like, I don't know, like heaven, like a perfect place. Just from doing research, like just from seeing pictures, researching, I'm like, what? A place like this exists? Like, they don't teach us any of this in school. I got there and you realize that there are problems there too. So every place has issues. That is another thing I learned. The next lesson is that you cannot compare two places, because I was talking to my host families there. They said that people in Germany were starting to argue a lot and become so divided with politics and everything. And I was like, oh really? Like, I thought it was good here, because I'm so used to the US where it's just so extreme to another level. But just because the US is so extreme doesn't mean that it's not a problem in Germany, you know? It was also the same kind of thing when we were talking about, we were going past an area near the city and the houses were smaller, and I guess that was where people lived who didn't make as much money. And yeah, my host mom mentioned that the gap between the rich and poor is like getting bigger and bigger, and it's really big now. And I was like, what? No, it's not. Like, you should see the US. I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. It made me realize that, again, just because the US has like a more extreme one doesn't mean that Germany's is also bad. Like, you cannot compare problems. And I think that's something really important that I learned, because a lot of people can be so focused on one area because it is a lot worse, but both areas could use improvement. That was really eye-opening to me, and yeah, those are the 6 lessons that I could share in this short video. There's so much you learn when you go abroad for a year, or just change your environment for a year. Unfortunately, I can't fit it all into one video, but I hope this was somewhat helpful. If you've ever lived abroad and learned some things that I didn't mention, please share them in the comments. I love to talk with people when they comment. It just, I don't know. I love talking about Germany and the US and just the world and people's perspectives. So yeah, thank you for watching. Danke fürs Zuschauen und tschüss.